Hi, I'm Ananya. I'm a junior content manager with Trip 101. Today, joining me is Milena, and we're going to talk about a special region in Italy. It's called Cinque Terre. It's very popular and it's very famous on Instagram, especially. So I'm
Mhm.
excited to discuss it with you today, Milena. Welcome to this session with us.
Thank you for inviting me. Happy
Yeah.
to be here.
Yeah, we're very happy to welcome you as well. So before we start discussing the location, we'd like to know you a little bit more. So please tell us where you're from, what you do, and how are you as a traveler?
Okay, so I was born in Bogota, Colombia, and I was raised there. I moved to the United States after I graduated in 2001. I have a degree in architecture, so that's how it started or ignited my passion for traveling. I moved to the US and I lived there for about 23 years. And
Mm.
then right now, I'm actually living in Italy due to my husband's job. And we are planning on staying here 3 to 5 years. We moved here about a year and a half ago, and I started this dream that I had for a long time that it was exploring the world from my not very adventurous mind because I was not raised to be very adventurous. I'm a Latina, overprotected. So this has been an amazing experience. And I'm here with my husband and my 11-year-old son.
Oh, nice. So you're from the past 1.5 years, you're on your adventure to explore the world.
Yes, yes. We're in the Europe chapter. And of course, we feel very privileged to be here living in Italy and having access to places like Cinque Terre, that is about an hour and a half from my house. So I probably will give you my experience from a different point of view, but still is going to be amazing for all those travelers who are maybe expats or people who live here in Italy as well.
Yeah. How much of Italy have you already seen in the past 1.5 years?
Well, we have seen a lot of Italy and Europe. We actually do about one travel a month with my
Mm.
husband and my son. We try to do something in Italy and something outside of Italy. We just came back yesterday from Germany. So we
Oh.
have a very busy schedule. But we have gone as Milan and north of Italy, Venice, and then down south to around the Naples area. And our plan is to continue going south. And we're taking our time to do it because we have the time, right?
I love this bit that you're living there, so you're experiencing the country at close quarters. So you're almost a local, but
Of
you also have the eyes of a traveler while you're
That's
there.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We feel very lucky to be here.
So I'd love to hear about your trip from this dual perspective of a traveler and a local. So when did you go to Cinque Terre?
So I've been to Cinque Terre about 3 times, and it has always been day trips. And the reason is because we live so close. The
Mm.
closest airport to Cinque Terre, I believe, is Pisa, and this is where I live. I live in Pisa, north of Pisa. So it's very easy for us to just drive to the train station. We leave our car there and take the train to, I believe, Monterosso. And
Mm.
then from there, we go down, take the train to see all the towns. We
Great.
have also done it where we drive all the way to La Spezia, and then from there we take the trains.
Mm.
And my husband has actually done the high trail hike, and I was going to join him on that experience, but I just didn't feel like I was prepared for all the walking. So I think I'm going to start with something small, but it's just so easy for us to access. Maybe you know how easy it is for travelers to use the train system here in Italy. So it just makes everything so much easier.
Yeah, I've read about it that the best way to visit Cinque Terre is via the train.
Yes, absolutely. We have also gone, I think I've been there in January and also around May. And both times have been really good because we are avoiding all the crowds from this time of the year, specifically this week of the year that we have Ferragosto, a big holiday here in Italy. So I absolutely would recommend if somebody wants to go to Cinque Terre to do it right at like April, May, or September, October.
Oh, okay. So August is definitely to be avoided.
Yes, the crowds are insane. And this is, I'm talking from someone who has been to Italy every single month of the year, being here for a year and a half. Crazy crowds in Rome, Venice, but the crowds in Cinque Terre are to a different level just because the access is different, the towns are so small, and
Mm.
most people are arriving through via train. So the train stations are packed, and the heat doesn't make it any better.
So you said April and May are the good months to go, and then later in the year, which is around September, October, maybe.
September, October, yes. We
Yeah.
went in January and it was a great experience. Actually, that was like my first time there, but a lot of the shops and restaurants were closed. We had incredible weather. I was wearing a jacket, but the weather was incredible. Of course, nobody's swimming, way less people. So it was like a better opportunity to maybe take really good photos, especially because I had blue skies and it was just a great day. But as a lover of summer, I think May would be the perfect month to visit Cinque Terre.
So in Jan, one can get a less crowded view, and then May is to just enjoy that beachy vibe and summer in Cinque Terre.
Yes, the seawater is still a little chilly, but you still can lay maybe tan and sit by the beach. We absolutely love the beach at Monterosso because it's like the flat area, the flat beaches in from the five towns.
Hmm.
And my son just loves being in the water. So it's a great trip. Actually, if you have kids, it's a great trip.
Let's recap a little bit and go over what the Cinque Terre are. Can you tell us the five towns that comprise the Cinque Terre?
Yes, I have it written down here because I always get confused with two of them. But at the very top, at the very north of the coast would be Monterosso al Mare, and then we have Vernazza, and then we have Corniglia, Manarola, and the last one would be Rio Maggiore.
Hmm.
Which, by the way, Manarola and Rio Maggiore are my very favorite. It's hard to pick a favorite because they all have something special, but
Hmm.
those two are very cool to visit. The vibe is incredible. And one of my favorite things is to create content for my social media platforms. So those two places have been incredible too. You cannot get a bad photo there. So I got really good content.
So which were the two that you mentioned? Which are your favorites?
Manarola and Rio Maggiore, the
Ah,
two
okay.
ones and the lower ones,
And the southmost.
south ones, yes.
Yeah. What is it that's special about Manrola and Rio Maggio that you really like?
Well, the views are incredible. I think you can see it here in my background, and it's actually flipped for some weird reason, but it's that one is Rio Maggiore, and you have just incredible views of these like romantic images we have of Italy with the houses on the hills. And then we
Mm.
have the sea that changes colors. You can have incredible views of the sunset also in these two towns. I mean, in all of them.
Mm.
Corniglia, which is the one in the middle, it's the only one that is not on the coast. It's a little up high. So we didn't spend a lot of time in that one because, like I said, we have done just like day trips where we just go all the way from Monterosso, taking the train to each town. And Vernazza is absolutely beautiful too. Actually, we love to go there and sit at the little piazza they have and have an aperitivo, right? Right before sunset, right before dinner. So I actually like that one very much too.
You usually like you said you drive up to a certain point and then you board a train from La Spezia or what was the other town that you mentioned?
Pisa. So we have
Okay.
here, I live like 15 minutes from the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and right there, right next to it, or in that area, we have the train station, Pisa Centrale.
Mm.
So we can take the train from there all the way to Monterosso. Or the very first time, because we weren't sure how to do it, we just drove to La Spezia, parked our car at the train station, and
Mm.
took a short train to I think Rio Maggiore. We started going through all the towns.
Ah,
It's absolutely doable. You just have to make sure you are on top of your time schedule so you get to see all the towns and actually catch the train. Don't get stuck there.
So the train stops at each of the five towns,
Right.
villages, I think they're called.
Yeah, they stop at each village and it's actually very inexpensive. I think you can either get the pass that you get to take any trains you want to for the day and go back and forth, or you can just, like we usually do it, we just pay for that specific train and it's about 2 euros. So it's not bad at
Mm.
all. And just a little bit piece of advice, because we have seen this happen a few times. Because of the crowds, people think that your tickets are not going to be checked at the train station, and a lot of people just get in the train. And many times they do check the tickets. It's only like 250. And if they ask you for your ticket and you don't have it, you can get in serious trouble. Instead of paying 250, they're going to charge you 100 euros.
Mhm.
And if you don't have 100 euros, you'll have to go with them. I don't really know what happens, but we have seen girls like begging the guy from the train, please, I just don't have 100 euros. No, come with me. This is the last time I'm going to tell you. Italians
Oh,
can get really firm when it comes to that. So just make sure you either buy the pass to go take all the trains back and forth as many times as you want to, or just pay the 250. I think it's around 250.
okay. So not very expensive, or you can get the card to just make it easier for yourself.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'd love to know like what each of the villages has special about them, and like what are your favorites since you've visited a couple of times. What are your favorites in each of them? So let's start with Monterosso maybe.
So Monterosso al Mare, like I said initially, has, in my opinion, the best beach because it's flat. You could schedule, I usually like to schedule that ahead of time, and you just schedule one of they call it bagni or like it's like beach clubs where you can schedule and get a little umbrella and you can just have lunch there and chill. That way you don't have to pack anything with you. You have bathroom services, your umbrella or your little cabana, and food and drinks available. So I would say that the views from Monterosso and the beach are great, especially if you have kids. And you also can do a little bit of shopping there, walk around, do a little bit of shopping. I think it has it all. Monterosso really has it all.
Okay.
Then going to Vernazza, and it's very easy to get them confused because they all are very similar. They're all part of the natural park, so they're very similar. Vernazza, like I said before, I think we were able to sit by the piazza and they have restaurants and you can have gelato. We had aperitivo the time we went. Actually, we went in May, but it was a very hot day and we were just trying to stay away from the sun, get some shade. And it's incredible to think that when you see the infrastructure of these villages, it's crazy to think that that they have so many tourists coming, millions of tourists every year.
Hmm.
And the restaurants are just so small. To get a bathroom, you really have to eat something at that restaurant. Vernazza is also really cool. I really enjoy going there. And then Corniglia, like I said before, we walk a little bit there, but it's like a little hike. So we didn't stay there too long because I wanted to see the other two. Ola, by far, my favorite views. We also had lunch there. We had a really good restaurant. I think it's called, well, I gotta get to you back on that, the name of it has something to do with like the anchor of the turtle. And I was sad that I wanted to eat at that place. So what we did is that when we arrived in the morning, I made reservations for later that day, and we were able to get a great table with amazing views, great service. The food there was incredible. If you like seafood, you're gonna have a lot of choices.
Nice.
And After that, Rio Maggiore, also beautiful views. I think that's the one I have in my background. Yes, it's just so beautiful. You feel like you want to do the Italian, and we're very chill travelers, so we want to do the Italian thing everywhere we go. We're not like go, we just like to sit down, have gelato, walk around, do some shopping. And I think that also comes with the knowing that you can come back soon instead
Yeah.
of like going to a place and you have to stay there 4 days and you want to see everything. So it's it is amazing to have the opportunity to be living to live so close to Cinque Terre. So we can take our time and do the dolce far niente kind of traveling.
Sounds like a lot of fun, and especially like that slow way of just sitting in a piazza, having gelato, and admiring the views around you. Definitely sounds absolutely lovely.
It's amazing. I think that's what Italians like to do, and that's how we are becoming. As the more we travel, we have
Mhm.
become less of we gotta do everything or we have to see everything and just chill and think about it like you're gonna. Everywhere I go, I always think I'll be back, so I don't have to stress about it.
Since you live so nearby, that it's possible to just take out time on a weekend and just go maybe and enjoy it once again.
And the opportunity to do day trips. And the first time we went, we were a little nervous that we weren't be able to see everything we wanted
Yeah.
to, or because you don't know the train system. But if you are visiting Tuscany, it's very easy. Just going from Pisa Centrale, taking the train all the way to Monterosso or one of the five villages, you can totally do it. It's going to be a busy day, but it's doable.
I was going to ask, is it like an exhausting trip, like when you try to see all five in one go?
Yeah, I mean, you dealing with crowds is hard, at least for me. That's probably the hardest part when I travel, and the heat
Hmm.
just takes it to a different level. And like you, if you've been to Italy, AC is not a thing here.
Hmm.
Rarely you see a place where they are running the AC, but you get hot. When we went back in January, the weather was perfect, and you can tell the difference that it makes when you don't have to deal with the heat. But it's doable. You're exhausted. Just, I feel like everywhere we go, we just end up really exhausted at the end of the day. So,
Yeah, but as long as you come back with like good memories and like a
yes.
tummy full of good food, I think that makes up for it.
And that's why they tell you to travel while you're young. We're in our 40s, my husband and I, and we're like, we're so glad we're doing this now, and we didn't wait until we retire, and we're in our 60s because you might have the money to do it when it comes to your endurance and how long the days could be dealing with elements, dealing with people, and just trying different foods alone is just hard on your body. Definitely, if I can give a voice of advice to someone who's watching this interview, it would be like, do it while you're young. You're never going to regret it.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to ask, do you know of anyone who's also stayed at the Cinque Terre, or because you have yourself taken day trips? So I'm just curious to know, is it usually like a destination that people would take a day trip to, or is it possible to also stay there and have a more extended kind of
Yeah. Actually, most people I know stay there. Sometimes when a lot of my friends come to Italy and they visit Rome and they take the train from Rome all the way to Cinque Terre to, I think it's Monte Rosa where you arrived. Or you can go from Rome to La Spezia, I believe, and then you take one of the trains.
Hmm.
They usually stay at very pretty Airbnbs. You probably have to do your homework and read the reviews. I've heard great experiences, amazing views of the sea. But I also hear some of my friends talking about going to the Airbnb and it ended up being something completely different than they thought. It was like family house and they were renting a couple rooms from their house so they were around. So I don't know how that you would feel about it, but it would be uncomfortable for me, just the way we like to travel. But yes, most people I know like to stay there about 3 or 4 days so they can take their time visiting each town. I
Yeah.
also, like I mentioned before, my husband did the high path trail in one day, which is crazy because I think it was about 20 miles or kilometers, but I gotta get back on you on that. But if I was going to do the high pass trail, I would definitely stay. I would not do it in one day. And they also have a shorter hike that is called the Lover's Path, that is
Mm,
between two towns, more doable. And it just gives you the opportunity to do part of the hike and then stop and have dinner or lunch. And then you could just sit by the beach or go to the Airbnb and relax and then continue the
mm.
next day. I also planning on staying there as well. Airbnb. I'm more of a hotel person, but I also have stayed in amazing Airbnbs.
Mm.
And in a place like this, I think is just part of the charm of staying
Yeah.
in Airbnb.
Yeah, Airbnbs can definitely be a lot of fun, but you have to do your research and find a good one, I guess.
Exactly, exactly. Read all
Yeah.
the it's gonna be expensive during the high season. We all know that, but it's absolutely worth it.
So the two hikes that you mentioned, these are the ones that like connect all five and you can walk through to the next one you via the hike.
Yes, there was one of the towns where it was closed down, and my husband mentioned the other day that they just reopened that area. So you can actually just do the whole path from Monterosso all the way to Rio Maggiore. And the times I've been to Cinque Terre, you see all the people with all the equipment, all the gear they need. That's if you are into this kind of hiking and trekking, an incredible experience, the most amazing views. Actually, I think they call it like the Blue Trail because you are like walking by the sea,
Mm.
and that's my plan to do it. I need to get in a little bit of better shape and be more prepared, but my plan is to do that. I'll let you know if I do it, but I want to do the hike.
It sounds like it must be a lovely hike, definitely.
You'll end up exhausted for sure, but it's all worth it.
Yeah. So when your husband did the hike, like how long did it take for him?
It took them about 18 hours. Yeah, exhausted. They left very early in the morning and they arrived really late at night. And he did say to me, we should have done it in at least 2 days. But he had my brother-in-law was coming just to visit, and they had very limited amount of time, and they think they, you know how guys are. They think they can. So and they did it. And they did it. So that was
Yeah.
amazing.
It must be fun. Even though, yeah, very exhausting. 18 hours is quite a lot.
Yeah, I'll share with you some of the photos that I got from them, but there is in my dream board because I really want to do it. You have to do it.
Yeah, that would be great. Any other tips that you would like to share? I know you've already mentioned a few while we were chatting, but anything else that you would like to advise any first-time travelers who are visiting Cinque Terre?
Yeah, I would say make reservations ahead of time. Arrive to the beach really early because by the time you get there, it's going to be packed. Even in May, you're going to probably have trouble finding a spot in one of the clubs or the baños, as we call it. And a lot of times I hear people saying, bring your own food if you go to the beach because the lines to get food are long. And this all comes with traveling with, in the high season. I like, we never bring our food anywhere because I love Italian food and I want them to cook for me and try their food. I got a great cook, so we usually just buy the food in one of the clubs and they either bring it to you or you can just bring sandwiches or pizza or something easy to have while you're enjoying the sea. So, we are not like super crazy in overthinking everything, or we are not really big planners. But when it comes to stuff like this, you have to be a little bit of a planner when it
Hmm.
comes to making reservations, or checking the train times. That's another great advice. You either buy the pass ahead of time. I think there is an app where you can do it. Or you can just download the Train Italia app and just buy your train tickets from the app. Very
Mm.
easy, and you're not going to have trouble with that. Once you get your train ticket, I usually screenshot it because a lot of times you get in the train and you don't have a signal, and
Mm.
there's no excuses. You have to show it. Like I said, I have here people saying, I don't have a signal. They don't care. So just screenshot it so you can show, they can scan it. Always buy your train ticket.
I think that's pretty important, especially if you're using the train to visit all five of them, definitely.
Yeah, you don't want to make Italians mad. You really don't.
Yeah.
I'm telling you because I live here.
Yeah. As a local in that region, would you say, what about like language? Is it like easy to communicate in English while you're in that region, or would you need to know a little bit of Italian?
I would say yes. At least when you live here, I don't look American, so people never ever talks to me in English. They expect me to speak Italian, and I do. I'm better at understanding, but I still have to do it because I live here. I have to go buy groceries. I have to talk to people all the time. And my first language is Spanish, which gives me a big advantage when it comes to learning the language. I am taking Italian classes. I'm already about to start my B2, but I feel more comfortable now speaking the language. My husband is American. He looks American and he doesn't speak Italian, but he tries because he knows enough words by now that he can get food and the easy stuff. I think that every Italian appreciates when people even knows how to greet them. Buongiorno, buonasera, grazie, the basic things. I think it goes a long way. Maybe
Hmm.
reading a little bit about the culture, the restaurant things to do or not to do. Italians are very proud of their food and their language. You would be surprised, a lot of Italians don't speak English. In the main cities like Rome, yes, but I live in Pisa and I can tell you most of the time I have trouble communicating in English and
Hmm.
even Spanish. I just have to do the best I can with my Italian.
Sounds good. Sounds about right as well, that you can pick up a few words at least to sort of navigate even as a tourist, because English is not that widely spoken in especially these remote parts of Italy.
I feel like you have, if you live in Europe, English is the way to go. Everywhere we have gone, where if like I speak Spanish, so I go to Spain and I speak Spanish, but any other place like the Netherlands and even Germany, Croatia, we were communicating in English. So
Hmm.
I'm always shocked that Italians, and I don't want to piss them off, but not a lot of Italians speak English.
I think they hold their language very dear to themselves. Like
Yeah,
they really love it. That's why.
that's right.
So it's been really fun chatting to you with you, Milena, about the Cinque Terre and Italian life a little bit.
I love talking about it. Yeah.
With that, I have come to an end with my questions. So thank you so much for joining me today and telling me all about Cinque Terre. I hope that our viewers will find this information useful and that they'll also plan their trips to Cinque Terre, taking on from what you've told us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And anytime you have any questions, just check out my Instagram page. We have been to many places since we have moved to Italy. It's so easy to go anywhere. So anytime.
Thank you for that very warm invitation to anyone who would like to be in
Yeah.
Italy and visit Italy. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you.